welcome to another edition of the NCBI Podcast. I'm June Tinsley, Head of Communications and Advocacy with NCBI. And today I'm joined by Mary O'Sullivan, who is mum to Grace, who has used our services on a number of occasions. And she's here to have a chat with me about the amazing fundraising appeal that they undertook for Grace last year. And just to have a chat about Grace in general. So very welcome, Mary, and thanks for taking the time out to have a chat with me.
Hi, June. How are you?
I suppose just as I kick off the conversation with everybody, if you wouldn't mind telling our listeners just a little bit about yourself and your family, please.
Okay. So my name is Mary O'Sullivan. I'm married to Canis. I'm living in a village called Fundraising in County Kerry. We have 3 girls. Our middle girl is Grace. Grace was diagnosed with a visual impairment when she was 7, which is 5 years ago. So I suppose from there, I suppose a lot of things kind of changed for us or whatever. And I suppose we just kind of learn to adapt and go through bits and pieces like that. So yeah, so that's it really. Grace is she loves Irish dancing. She's a quiet girl, but she's a quite confident girl then when you get to know her. That's it really, I suppose.
And what class of school is she?
She is in Fundraising National School. She's in 6th class. So she'll be making her confirmation in March and going on to secondary school then in September, please God.
Amazing. And when she received the diagnosis, did she need much supports in the school system?
She did, yeah. So I suppose Grace's condition affects her central vision. So I suppose what that kind of really means is fine detail probably would be her biggest hurdle. So she uses assistive technology. She uses a thing called a Connect 12.
And she was able to receive that and get the appropriate training and all that on that to help her with schoolwork, was she?
She was, yeah. So I suppose... what happened is when she was diagnosed first, she has a visiting teacher who comes and they kind of see what would suit her best. So it was through her that they decided to kind of go down that road to use that piece of technology.
Great. And I hope during the horrible times we all had to do homeschooling, that she was able to still utilise her assistive technology, was she?
Oh, she was, yeah. She was lucky enough, I suppose, to be able to bring home the assistive technology because sometimes they don't like that, but the schools didn't seem to have a problem with that. So she was happy enough, and she used it throughout the whole pandemic.
Oh, fair play to her. Great. And tell us what kind of supports and services of NCBI and Vision Sports has yourself and Grace used?
Well, I suppose what I remember the most really, I suppose, the first kind of dealings with the NCBI was the day that Grace was actually officially diagnosed with Stargardt in Dublin. We got the train up, and on the way down, my husband decided to register with the NCBI. And that was on a Thursday. And on the Friday morning, we actually got a phone call from a member of the NCBI to see were we okay, did we need anything, were we, if we needed any counselling, that all those kind of things were there. So like that's all I ever remember, that straight away they were kind of there for us.
Brilliant that it was as prompt as that.
Yeah, it was unbelievable.
And in terms of your other daughters getting used to any adaptations that are needed in the house, has that all panned out as a family?
It's okay. It's I suppose like that. I suppose because Grace knows the house so well, we probably didn't even have to adapt the house an awful lot. I suppose the biggest thing is because she knows her whereabouts. I suppose the biggest problem would be what you put in the middle of the floor. Or, it's the stuff you put where it shouldn't be. Like so, like I suppose putting things on the steps of the stairs and saying I'll bring them up later. Like that's a no. Little bits like that. The girls are great. Like I suppose from the minute she was diagnosed, they kind of understood it, and they just kind of help her along with, I suppose, little bits like crossing the road or, recognizing people. They'll tell her who's coming, things like that they're great with, really.
And in terms of moving into secondary school, will there be much of a change in her environment and stuff like that?
I suppose I suppose secondary school is going to be a big one. I suppose we kind of don't know what's ahead of us yet. If it will be a big move, because I suppose you're kind of at the age where you're also conscious of what people think. So I suppose it's probably that part of your life where you probably want to kind of be the same as everybody else. Yeah, so that probably will be a little bit of a tough one, I'd imagine.
And is there anybody else in her primary school with a vision impairment?
No. She has never met anyone in primary school, and there is nobody in her secondary school either. So she's kind of out on her own in that one.
Yeah, which can be daunting for some individuals, and other young people like the fact that they're so unique. It really depends on the person.
Exactly, it depends on the person, and I suppose Grace is the kind of a person, she just takes stuff in her stride and she just goes with it. So we kind of try not to make as much of a big deal out of it if we can.
Yeah, exactly. And to be fair, the transition to secondary school is massive for every pupil. So
exactly, yeah, for anyway.
She'll be no different in that regard. And tell us about the Pedal for Grace fundraising that you did last year.
The Pedal for Grace, I suppose we decided to do the cycle because, like I'd said, the NCBI had been so good to us and to Grace throughout everything, kind of, helping her along the way. So we kind of decided, look, it'd be nice to do something to give something back, and I suppose to show our appreciation, and I suppose also kind of help out other people that are in the same situation as Grace. So we decided that we'd do a cycle. So we decided, we got on to Joanne McCartney in the NCBI, who's another great woman. So she helped us along, kind of, doing all the background work. So we decided to do a cycle on the 10th of September. The weather gods were definitely looking out for us that day anyway, because the sun shone down from the minute we got up that morning.
Right.
So it was absolutely, it was from the word go, everything was on our side.
And how many people were participated in it?
There was about 100 cyclists in total, because what we did was we did a short cycle, and we did a shorter route, which was 10k, and then we did 60k, the longer route.
I mean, that's a phenomenal number to get involved. It sounds as if it was a whole community effort.
Oh, I suppose when we were starting out, we didn't know whether we'd have 5 people or 10 people, so we were kind of nervous on that side of it. But on the morning, even coming up to it, you had the I Donate as well on the other side for people that didn't cycle. We had loads of people that were kind of asking us, can we donate and not cycle? So Joanne came up with that, came and recommended that as well. So we went with that. But the support that people give, it's actually overwhelming. I suppose we underestimate the power of community. When it's when something happens or when you need someone, when people come together, it's unbelievable. We spent a week actually in shock, I think, afterwards, that what people had done for us.
Well, as you rightly say, it's very reassuring part of Irish culture, really, to that coming together to support each other.
Unbelievable. We couldn't thank people enough. And on the day of the cycle, even down to, the stewards, people, driving around giving out water. We had a local guy of ours, an MC, he did the DJing. We had another girl cooking burgers. It was even the buzz of it, the atmosphere. Loads of people actually came to us afterwards and said they had never, the community never pulled together like that before. I suppose it was just, people are great. When you need people, they all come together.
Yeah, exactly. Now I'm sure Joanne wants you to run it every year, but that might be taking it a little too far.
Oh, no. We were looking at the dates the other day. For next year. We're definitely going ahead for next year. We'll go for 200 cyclists next year.
I love the ambition. Love it.
Yeah, so it's great.
You're hoping to double the amount raised as well?
Yeah. Oh, with the more money, the merrier.
Oh, fair play to you. I mean, to be honest, raising over 20,000 is a significant accomplishment, and fair play to the whole family. Is Grace a cyclist herself?
Grace cycles a little bit, not a lot. She'd cycle a little bit in the local area and stuff, but she kind of didn't cycle that day. She was kind of happier to help out and be. She was famous that day. She was delighted. She was getting all the attention and lapping it up.
Well, maybe she might try a tandem cycling in time.
Yeah, that's actually a good idea as well. Maybe that might be an idea for next year.
Yeah, because certainly many of the individuals who participate in our vision sports activities, would be tandem cyclists. So it would be an opportunity to get a few bikes down there and demonstrate how that works.
It is, and you see that's another, another service obviously of the NCBI. Like there's so many things that can, uses that from the NCBI are unbelievable.
And is there one particular one she's enjoyed the most?
She loved before COVID we were doing more, I suppose a lot more, but she used to go to the camps in Cork with her favourite, Aoife Josh. Aoife was kind of there from the start with Grace, so she absolutely loved her. I suppose she used to go to the camps and she'd come out and Grace is a kind of a very, very deep person, so she doesn't talk much. But like what she would say when she'd come out is like that she had similarities to the other kids in there. And I suppose it wasn't until she went in there she realised that there is other people out there that have similar disabilities, or.
Yeah, no, it's very true, and it's important for her to make those connections and build those friendships with.
I remember actually one of the first training days we went to for the Connect 12 as well. She came out and she was in shock. Like she was like, "Oh, there's other kids that actually have the same computer as me." And I suppose it wasn't until she said that we realised she was going into school and she was the only one in there.
And to be fair, that can be a bit overwhelming and daunting.
Yeah, and because she doesn't tell you that, I suppose we don't think.
Yeah, it's true. It's true. And for the teachers as well, if they've never engaged with a pupil with a vision impairment, it's difficult for them to make sure that Grace or whoever is able to keep up the class and has all the supports that they need.
And that's it, yeah. No, and that is it, yeah. But no, she loved the camps with the NCBI in Cork, over the holidays. Like that, she even actually made friends with a lovely little girl from one of the groups who is actually only 10 minutes over the road away from us. And they're actually still friends since then.
Brilliant, because it is very important, that kind of peer support, especially during teenage years as well. As they muddy through all the waters that it brings.
Yeah, I think it's a very important age, actually.
Yeah, very much so. And I suppose, Mary, just to kind of conclude, is there any one piece of advice that you would give another parent whose child has been recently diagnosed with a sight loss condition?
I suppose, I suppose it's kind of, sometimes when you have something thrown at you, it's kind of hard to deal with it. But look, you have to kind of take the best side out of everything. And, I suppose get up in the morning, put your head up in the air and just, you do take every day as it comes and you go with it. And I just think it could always be worse. But what I would definitely recommend is the NCBI couldn't do enough. I mean, anytime I have a doubt or anything or any question, all I need to do is pick up the phone and there's someone at the other side of the phone for us. And that for us is a massive reassurance.
Yeah, I suppose it's so important to know that you're not alone and Grace is not alone.
Yeah, and it is, and I suppose there's always, even just to meet somebody, even as a parent of a child with a visual impairment, to have another parent to talk to and kind of vent to, and I suppose they know what you're going through and vice versa. So it is great to have that.
And have you physically met many parents, or is it that being done online largely?
A lot of it is online, but like I said, that little girl that Grace made friends with through the NCBI, I actually have become good friends with her mom. So we'd often ring, even little things like down to the large print books in school, little bits that you wouldn't be sure of. We can kind of ring each other and kind of throw things off each other and help each other, little bits like that, which is great.
Yeah, it's just literally to be a sounding board and a peer support, as I said, it's just
and sometimes even if you feel like you want to have a little rant, that's fine too.
Oh, that's 100% normal. 100% normal, definitely. Well, listen, just all I can say is congratulations to your entire family for raising so much money for NCBI, and thanks very much for organising it and us being the beneficiaries of it.
We're only happy to. You know what? It's nice to know that we're giving something back, just to show our appreciation.
Well, it's very much appreciated, and I wish you every good luck in doubling the numbers, both in terms of cash and participants next year.
Next year, please God, that will happen.
Fingers crossed. But for now, Mary, I'd just like to say thanks very much for having a chat with us today. And as always, if anybody wants to get in touch with our services, feel free to contact our info line 1800 911 250 or contact our website, ncbi.ie. All previous episodes of our podcasts are available on our website or through any of your podcasting platforms. But for now, Mary, I would just like to say thanks very much.
Thank you, Jude. Thank you very much.